Good morning and welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 184. Today, we're going to try to convince your parents to meditate. Updates. Okay, so people are registering now for Training Tuesdays. I'm going to send that out Friday. So make sure that you get into the Discord and register for Training Tuesdays if you want to participate. Somebody asked me somewhere, I don't know if it was in a Twitter DM or if it was in a Snapchat, I cannot find it now, but somebody asked me, when are you going to get to my question in Anchor? And the answer is, I think I have a pretty straightforward system for answering questions in Anchor. I just answer every single question in order. So I don't know where your question is, but I think I'm only a few days behind. I do 4 questions a day and they just come in and then I do them. So don't worry about it. I'm doing them sequentially, chronologically. And if your question is in there, it will be in there. It's not like they get deleted. Eventually, they will pop up. Other updates. Fitness Friday is tomorrow. Today is Thursday, which means tomorrow is, I think it's Thursday. Yes. Tomorrow is Fitness Friday, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. I was thinking I would set up the camera so we could do yoga and meditation, and then I would take you on my phone to the gym, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's what we're going to do. Maybe we'll do some kettlebells because I have a kettlebell here, so we could pull that off. And no other big announcements or anything. Yep, that's about it for the week or for the day, for the night, because I talked to you guys yesterday. Let's jump into the first question. We have 4 really awesome questions today, by the way. Only one of them is about convincing your parents to meditate, so don't worry if that is not your primary goal in life. This first question comes from Patrick. You may have noticed he's been in the last 3 shows. He sent in 3 questions, and I spaced them out for you. And it's about sensitivity settings for MOBAs.
Hey Weldon, I have a question about mouse accuracy and sensitivity. I believe you mentioned that CSGO players have a good handle on mouse accuracy by having low mouse sensitivity and using their whole hand, arm, and shoulder for quick precision. I was wondering what your thoughts were on League of Legends and StarCraft 2 mouse sensitivity. For example, when Kog'Maw gets up to 2.0 attack speed, it seems hard to imagine that someone uses anything other than high sensitivity and small hand and wrist movements. Working with pro League players, what is the range of sensitivity they usually use? Thanks, Weldon.
All right, so I worked with a CSGO team, and I've also looked at a number of CSGO sensitivity settings because you can actually look at them. There's a website out there that's like pro equipment or pro settings or something like that, where it stores as many pro settings as they can. And pretty universally in FPSs, it's honing in on this like muscular control. And there are outliers, but they are the exception to the rule. In League of Legends, I have found that there is no rule. So I think that mouse accuracy and mouse speed is less important in MOBAs. I think that people can become pro without having the best in the world mouse accuracy and mouse movement speed. Okay? And I base that assumption on the observational data that I have of just seeing that some people have high sensitivity, some people have low sensitivity, and some people change it a lot. And it seems to be irrelevant to League of Legends, whether you're good or not. So in StarCraft 2, I think it's a little bit different situation because there are very few non-Korean success stories in StarCraft 2, and in the culture in Korea, it is more accepted to have like, I think, high sensitivity and to move the mouse very little and to have it very measured. Because I don't know why. Maybe because of StarCraft 1, maybe because of Brood War, maybe because of limitations with the StarCraft engine and the inability to change mouse settings back when it started, and like this is just how it is, and everybody just copies kind of what the previous person did. But whatever the point is, there's not a lot of variety that I have seen in StarCraft 2. When I look at the pro settings websites, it seems to be all high sensitivity. So I think that in League of Legends, it probably doesn't matter. So I wouldn't worry about it. I would just, if you're going to play FPSs, I would, if you want to change your sensitivity, if you want to do the best thing, go for low sensitivity. It will always be the best thing because it will be the healthiest thing for your arm. Okay, the healthiest thing for your body is to move the most. And we know that the shoulder muscles are always going to be more accurate and more speedy than just the wrist. Okay? So I would say, like, if you want to actually change something and go for the best, then go for low sensitivity. If you don't care and you're on high sensitivity and you don't want to change, then don't worry about it. It's not going to hold you back. Those are my thoughts about it. All right. Next question is from Redaja. And I like this question. I have no idea how I'm going to answer it. I'm very curious myself.
Hey, Weldon, thanks for having me on the show. My question is, how do I convince my dad that meditation can change his life for the positive? He's currently a workaholic who's working 2 jobs full-time, and just seems like he never gets a day off for himself, and he's very stressed out all the time. I don't know how to introduce meditation to him. I know it can help him. What is your advice? Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the background music. Thanks for the question. I think the first thing you should do is like give him my book to read, and he should read my book. Now, the problem is I don't have a book. I haven't written it yet, but I was going to write a book that I think would be more consumable by your parents, that would, convince them that meditation is something they could try. But since I haven't written that book yet, it's not very good advice. I would say that you should start by opening up the definition of mindfulness and meditation to include other things in life. So first of all, I would look in your dad's life for things that he does that are meditative. For example, fishing, yoga, going to the gym, deer hunting, sport like Thursday softball games. There's all these various things that humans do that we do with the frequency that we do them because they are a meditative practice that helps us escape and adjust our mind, right? So find a way into the conversation with the hobbies and the tasks that your dad already does for escape, not related to television and media escapism. Okay, not escapism into a different world, but escapism into your own mind. That's the important part. Not to be distracted, but to be in the moment. And find those places and go into those places with your dad and amplify them. Amplify them as much as you can. That's the practical advice that I would have for you, is forget about the idea of seated meditation for the moment and get into those areas of life that are his meditation and amplify them as much as you can with attention, with joy, with adding to the moment, with making sure that they happen regularly, with making sure that they're easy and they're fun to do. And then through that vector, you can bring in like even more all-inness. So like if you're deer hunting, right? And that moment of just sitting in the stand with your bow and you're just sitting there for hours, you can talk about, or you can get into the idea of like how it is that we do this, why it affects our life, why it's important to us, how we can spend time thinking and focused and just with ourselves and start to love ourselves and, start to see the rest of our life through a different lens because we're stepping out of the busyness. I don't know. That's what I would recommend. That's the only way that I think I could get through to my dad is through the things that he already does that are mindful. And I want him to do the thing that I like, which is like seated meditation, right? But he has his own thing that actually he's probably better at in terms of mindfulness than I am, and that he loses himself in as completely or more than I do with my yoga. So I think for me it's about not having the audacity to try to force my method on him and instead find out one that he already is kind of doing and then making time and sacrificing to make sure that works out better. Good luck. All right, next question. From Fishy Tomato.
Hey Weldon, Fishy Tomato here. I was wondering, why exactly is flow state a trained state of mind? Why doesn't it just occur naturally? Thank you.
Flow state does occur naturally. It's not a trained state of mind. So that's the answer to your question. Maybe you think that it's a trained state of mind because I've mentioned that flow state experiences can increase with mindfulness training, which is true. There's research now showing that you have more flow state experiences when you train mindfulness, not during your mindfulness training, but when you are a person who does train mindfulness regularly, you will have in your life more flow state experiences pop up automatically or naturally. And also, it's because I've talked about how mindfulness focused state in sport is a somewhat similar to an artificial flow state, even though it's not a flow state. So maybe those two things or statements have confused you, but flow state is a completely spontaneous state that we cannot control, that is not trained, and that only just happens naturally in life.
Hello, Mr. Weldon. I have a question about mental health, and it's like the placebo effect, because when I play Overwatch, I mostly think about performance, like my PC's performance, not my in-game performance, because I feel like the PC's kind of holding me back, but I got like an entirely new one, and the only constant was my brain, so it feels like it's me, like, you know, when you listen to music, and you focus on the notes, it sounds better, or when you eat food, and you savor every bite, it tastes better. I think it's kind of like that. That my brain kind of makes the game, I feel disconnected from the game, essentially. And if there's any way you think you could help with that, because every time I play, I just think about my, yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Weldon, and congratulations on your new baby. Okay, bye.
All right, thank you for the question, Gabriel. And when I was listening to this, there were two different ways that I could understand it, and they were opposite. So I need to either clarify and then pick one, or maybe try to answer them both. So first of all, I couldn't tell if you were saying that you are focused on the performance of the game on your PC in the same way that you appreciate food. So you focus on the food and you enjoy it more. You focus on the music and you enjoy it more. You focus on the game and you enjoy it more. Now, this is true. I like to have a fast PC because I like to make League beautiful. I like to use all my settings. I like to set max distance in PUBG, and I love how beautiful the game looks, and I love to appreciate that, and I enjoy it, and it makes me enjoy the game and playing the game regardless of the performance. I don't care if I win or lose because I get to play this beautiful champion and shoot these pretty skill shots, and like it's just really fun to watch visually and entertaining. I think that could be one thing that you're saying, or you could say that you want to focus on the food and you enjoy it more. You want to focus on the song and you enjoy it more. You want to focus on the game and you enjoy it more, but for some reason you feel disconnected from the game. And you tried to buy a new computer and that didn't help, and your mind is for some reason not connecting with the experience, and that's causing you to not enjoy it as much because you feel disconnected from the game in the way that you don't feel disconnected from food and from music, or wouldn't if you were doing that thing, right? So the first one, I think it's the second one. I think what you're saying is the second one. But if it's the first one, don't worry about your performance. Just focus on enjoying the game. That's fine. You don't have a problem. If you're being held back in terms of performance, then it's not really an issue because you're taking joy in the process and in the artistic and aesthetic sensations of the game. So there you go. Now, if it's the second one, which is what I suspect, and you bought the computer as a solve to try to get more connected and closer with the game, but that's not helping. First of all, I don't know what is it that you want. When you say holding you back, I don't know if it means holding you back from ranking up, or if it means holding you back from enjoying the experience of playing. Okay? And that is your end goal. Or if ranking up is the thing that would cause you joy. So I think the first thing that you need to do for yourself is clarify your goals, because I think that if you had them, you would have said them in the question. I think that you need to know whether you would be satisfied and happy if you were ranking up. And also, where does that end? Like, what if you get to a certain rank? Are you then by default happy, or do you need to continue to improve and continue to rank up? And if the answer is like, no, I just want this one level because I want this one skin and then I will be happy. Okay, so you have a consumeristic, escapist mindset, fine. You want to get to that certain level so you can get that certain achievement so that you can brag about it, and that's great, and that will make you happy, then you need to be working on that. But if it's like, well, I would get to this level, and then I would probably be happy for a while, and then I wouldn't be happy anymore unless I continued climbing, and then I would get to the next level, and then I would be happy maybe for a little bit, and then I wouldn't be happy again, and I would want to continue climbing. So what you're really looking at is like you are going to be satisfied only by continual improvement. And so you need to divorce yourself from the success or failure of the game's ladder system, and you need to focus on yourself and your own improvement, like improving yourself in the game over and over again, which, by the way, is a lot easier if you start to connect things outside of your life to your improvement in the game, such as eating better, getting better sleep, working out, and studying the game in a more constructed way, such as taking notes when you're watching VODs of pros, and then taking notes when you're watching your own VODs as well and studying. And when you do all these things, you connect your life and your experience to your progress in the game, and you improve, but you don't need the measure of improvement that you have. The ranked ladder does not need to say you're improving. You can feel you're improving as you're playing, and you can look at all the work you're putting in to improve, and you can see that it's making your life better anyway, and then that gives you that satisfaction, that feeling of improvement, okay? Or if your goal is simply to lose yourself in the game and have escapism, and you're trying to focus on the game, but you're just getting distracted and pulled out of it, then I'm not really sure if it's the right game, if that makes sense. Like, games are supposed to automatically suck you in and automatically provide you escapism. That's the whole purpose of game design, is they're trying to create an experience that is so addicting and so interesting and so devolving that it pulls you into the world. So I would say experiment with other games. Like, maybe this just isn't your game. Like, try taking the competition out of the equation. Play a single-player game. Play different competitive games that you suck at, and so you know that it's not going to be about the competition. It's going to be about the joy of trying to play the game in the first place. Try some mobile games. Try other ways of like losing yourself in the experience, and see if there's other games out there that hook you and pull you in without some sort of astronomical effort to like lose yourself into something that doesn't seem to be that interesting for your brain in the first place. But I suspect that, first of all, it was the second thing where you're struggling to lose yourself into the game, and that it is actually the thing about competition where you just want to feel like you're improving. And so I think that my advice that I gave before during the last point is going to be the most relevant to your question, and I hope that I nailed it. I hope that I figured out what you were asking, and thanks for calling into the show. I appreciate it. All right, guys. That's the show for you today. Make sure to check out the Mac program, mindgames.gg/MAC. Use the code AskWeldon to get your discount. And make sure to come join me on Twitch for the full show. As you can see on my Twitter now when I'm promoting the show, basically I am linking to the YouTube VOD, the podcast, that's because you can listen to this in audio form, the two edited versions of the show, the podcast and the YouTube video, and the full show, the full hour-and-a-half show where I discuss with the audience how it's going and what's happening, etc., on Twitch, twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. Come, help me, make partner. I just need 75 concurrent viewers for my streams, and right now it's growing. I used to average 10, then I used to average 20, now I average 30. I love you all, and I'll be back with you in a second. I'm going there now. Bye, YouTube.